What's going on YouTube? It's Infinity Ian back again for another video. This video is going to be a little different than anything else I've put out so far, but it's going to be a very crucial video. So this video is going to be all about losses. Losing in the market is a part of the game. Like, you're going to lose whenever you trade any market. It doesn't matter whether you're trading the stock market, crypto market, futures market, it does not matter. You're going to lose. But when you begin to analyze your losses, you can begin to understand why you are taking those trades, why you are taking those losses, and turn those losses into wins, right? Or just turn those losses into non-trades. Just a situation where you wouldn't even think about trading at all. You're not going to understand how to do this or why you are losing until you go over what you are actually doing. You got to go over all your trades, right? One way, shape, or form, you have to understand what you're doing. It's obviously awesome when you're winning, right? But when you're losing, you really have to understand, why is this happening? Because if you can turn your losses into wins, like, your wins are already wins. So those are good, right? That's not really what you want to focus on. You want to focus on, why aren't these wins? You know, what can I do to turn these losses into wins? So in this video, I'm going to show you how I go over all my trades and how I go like, all right, this is what I did, but what should I have done, right? What would have made this a win, or what would have allowed me the best opportunity to profit on this day? All right, so let's hop on the charts and let's go over what I do. So let's hop into TradingView. All right, so now that we're in TradingView, let me explain what everything means right here. So every single one of these arrows indicates a trade that I took, right? On this day, I had a short bias. I was wanting to short because there was a big down day the day before. So this is the day that we're looking at right now. Like, this is the day that has all the arrows on it. This was the day that occurred before. This was Friday. You see how Friday was the biggest day that had occurred over the last month, really? And it closed near its lows down here, right? Underneath all of these lows down here. So this is already showing like this is bearish momentum. But even though it closed down here, I want to pop this up for you. It closed at the 50% point of this low and this high, right? So it closed at a point where it can begin to really bounce, or it can begin to go lower. Like, it could go either way because it's at the midway point of a range. So that's what I was paying attention to, and what I still had the bias of, because there was such a huge down day the day before, I'm going to short this. So that's why I had the short buy. So let me hop back into the smaller time frame. So like I said, every single one of these is a short that I took. You can see how there are red arrows and there are green arrows. All of the red arrows indicate losses. All of the green arrows indicate wins. So you can see how there are losses and wins spread all over this chart. All throughout the day, I'm taking losses and wins. And like I told you, losing is a part of trading. Like, you're going to lose. It's inevitable. A lot of the best traders in the world have between like a 40 to 60% win rate. Like, there are people that have in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but if they do have that high of a win rate, they probably have a really small risk-reward ratio. But like I was saying, losses are a part of the game. But there was a way to turn a lot of these losses that I took into wins, and to completely avoid some of these losses altogether, right? I'm gonna be honest with myself. This whole day was a trading range day, right? Because this was the low that we were basing off of. This was the high. You can see how price is just bouncing in between that low and that high for that whole day, aka trading range day. If I'm being honest with myself, then I know that I'm not really good at trading days, because I like to take trends, right? I like to take moves that go for 500, 600, 1,000 points. And a lot of the times in trading range days, there are moves that go like 200, 300, 400 points, but they don't hit that 500, 600, 700 range that I'm like usually aiming for, where I'm like, damn, this is a great trade. And at the end of the day, it's literally like a matter of being greedy. And it's just a matter of managing that greed on trading range days, which will allow me to change a lot of my losses into wins. And let me go over what I mean by that in this example. So on this day, altogether, there were about 55 trades that were taken, and 33 of them were losses and 22 of them were wins. So I had about a 60% loss rate and a 40% win rate. So that's not that great of a day, right? You can see that there's losses and wins taken all throughout the day. But there were some really good wins that I took on this move down, right? This move right here is actually the move that I took a screenshot of and I put on my Instagram, and it was showing that I was up like $400 and something at this point. I don't remember exactly what I was up, but I was up a good amount at this point, and it was near this low. And I remember taking this screenshot, and I was like, I'm gonna post this on my page, and I'm gonna show people, like, would you be okay with taking this amount of money? Because that $400 is a lot of money. But when you look at this move, when you look at the potential move down, like, that 400 could easily turn into 1,200, 2,000, 2,500. Like, it can really multiply really quickly if we have one of these days or one of these days. And you don't know what type of day is going to happen, because, I mean, you just got to wait to see how the market reacts, right? And that's my issue on trading days, is I'll be up. I'll have trades that are up a shit ton of money, but I don't take the profit, right? All the way down here, I could have taken the profit way down here. I was holding all these trades at this point. I could have exited out every single one of those trades and made however much money that I was up, right? but I didn't, because I'm like, I want to take the trend down. I want to take this trend all the way down to at least this area, potentially this area. I talked about this in a couple of my other videos. So because my mentality has been like that for the last, week or so, I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. But it changes my trading strategy, and it kind of screws me, because pretty much this last week, you can see there was mostly trading range days. Price is just going up and down, up and down, up and down. So on trading range days, you can't try to take a trend. You have to take what's given to you. And on some of these trades, I took what was given to me, but on a lot of them, I didn't, right? And on a lot of them, I shouldn't have even taken them at all, but it was over trading. And it's just something I got to take care of in the future, and I got to clean up. But it's easy to do, because it's going over stuff like this right now that allows me to realize, like, bro, you need to nip this in the bud. Like, you got to cut this shit out, and you will be that much better. But like I said, on this day, I took 55 trades, 33 of them were losses, and 22 of them were wins. So how could I improve this, right? How could I make this day that was a lost day for me end up being a winning day for me, right? Because it was a winning day. Like, at one point, all the way down here, it was a winning day. But I ended up taking all these extra trades, not taking these profits when I should have taken these profits. I mean, I still ended up winning on this day, but instead of me being up, 400 at this point, and then I took these trades right here, and I was up another, like, I think another 300 or 400 on this point. So it could have been around a $700 day, but instead I held my trades and was selling all these right here. I was selling them on the way up. So I was losing profit, and ended up making maybe like 120, 150 on this day, which, I mean, it's still not bad, but that 120, 150 should have been a $700 to $800 day. Like, just with a matter of pushing a button and not doing this down here. And I'm going to show you how much of a difference it makes by me just taking my profits and me avoiding certain areas of the charts. So let me show you these numbers. So these are the numbers of the trades that I actually took, right? So we're going to go over if I was to take the exact same trades that I took, but we're going to try something. We're going to see, out of all these trades that I took, how many of them, if I would have did a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio on every single one, right? And I was at risk 150 points. So 150 points up and 150 points down. Because I was shorting, if price went 150 points against me from the entry of my position, then I'd be executed out. But if it went 150 points down, which would be for me because I would be shorting, then I would be executed out with profit. So let's see how good I would have done on those trades. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over every single one of these losses that I took and see, all right, had I been risking 150 points up or down, would it still have been a loss or would it have been a win? Like, which one happened first? So let's go over and see what happens. So this still would have been a loss, but it was a valid loss to me because it was underneath a bear bar. So I'm okay with that. This would have been still a loss, but once again, still a valid loss to me because it was under a bear bar after a lower high had been made, because this high is higher than this high, right? This high is lower than this high, it's a lower high. So that was still a valid loss to me. This is a loss. It's still relatively a valid loss to me too, because it was after a bear bar and, it was underneath the bear bar. So I'm okay with that. And then this is a loss, this was a loss. These were premature losses. I shouldn't have taken those trades. So out of all these 5 trades, I mean, yes, I still would have lost on all of them if I was risking 150 points, but these are valid trades. Like these 3, 1, 2, 3, but these 3 right here, those are all valid trades. Only these 2 were the ones that I could have really avoided, but those are all still losses, right? So we got 5 losses right now. This loss, right? There's one that would have been a win. So you can change that into a win. This is another one that was a loss. That should have been a win. You can change that into a win. And the reason why these were losses was because I held them until up in this point. So the price had gone all the way down here. I was holding, went up, still holding, down here, still holding, all the way back up to here. And then I ended up getting out for a loss. But I was up this whole time, right? This is what I'm saying. A lot of these losses could have been wins. So there's 2, right? Here's another one right here. There's a loss, should have been a win, right? This would have been the entry point. This is the exit point, should have been a win. These ones still would have been a loss, 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 still loss, loss, loss. All these still would have been losses down here. But now we start to get up here, right? That still would have been a loss too. Now we start to get up here. That would have been a win because yes, it didn't get executed at this point right here, but if you go over, it still would have been executed over here. So that would have been a win. That would have been a win right there. That would have been a win. That's 3 wins. That would have been a win. 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 You see what I'm saying? Like, that would have been a win. That would have been a loss. But that would have been the last loss of the day, right? and it was down in this lower area. At the end of the day, I could have avoided it, but it is what it is. That was a small position anyway. So after going over all these trades though, you see how initially there were about 55 trades that I took, 33 of them were losses and 22 of them were wins. So if I was to take these same exact trades, but on all my losses, if I had instead implemented a 150 point like automatic take profit on all of those losses that were executed throughout the day, then there would have been at least 15 trades that would have turned into wins. So out of these 33 losses, 15 of them would have switched. So almost 50% of the losses, almost half of my losses would have been wins that I took, right? So that changes from 33 losses into 18 losses and from 22 wins into 37 wins. So my 60% loss rate and 40% win rate on these 55 trades quickly turns into a 33% loss rate and a 67% win rate with the 150 point take profit implemented on all these losses, right? So had I just done that, I would have done way better that day. The numbers are right here. Like the proof is in the pudding. So all I gotta do is implement that 150 point take profit. And the reason why I get that 150 point take profit is because I find that the average range of a day on the Dow Jones is around 400 points. It normally goes up and down within a day around 400 points. It would be awesome to capture the full range of that 400 points, but that's not realistic because there's no way you're top ticking and bottom ticking every single trade. It's not gonna happen. But 150 points is less than 50% of that range, right? Because 200 points would be 50% of that 400 point range. So 150 is even more conservative than trying to capture 50% of that range. So that's why I'm trying to shoot for 150 points. That's normally my goal on every single position is around 150 points. I just don't end up taking the trades whenever I do hit 150 points. But you can see, if I did that, most of my trades would have won. That's one way I can begin to improve my win rate and begin to be a better trader. So let's try a different one. Instead of doing 150 points, let's try 100 points instead. So now if I was to do the same exact trades that I took,